All right, so as promised, right over here, we're gonna go over adhesion of mortars, and I'm gonna talk about the mortars itself. Color of mortar also matters depending on the type of tile that you're using. In this particular scenario, we are using a non-glazed porcelain tile. Non-glazed porcelain tiles, hard to scratch, or it ain't gonna scratch it. You never have to seal it. You really don't have to worry about it busting or breaking or any of that unless something hard comes and hits the tile and hits a void. And that's what I want to focus on right now. So as you would see, depending on who you are, if you're an installer, you're like, oh my God, what is going on? And basically, what you see here is a lot of mortar. The reason why that they're using a lot of mortar is because there was a tremendous pitch going from left to right, so much so that it's just basically about a 3-inch gap from left to right. And what you see here is that they're accounting for that gap to go ahead and try to create symmetry and levelness and evenness. Now, why is it being level and even important? Few things. Trip hazard might be one, but then again, that's depending on your lifestyle. We've been in homes where they have parties, they have exclusivities, and they have people coming in with shoes, high heels, so on and so forth. There's, people that use their basements for ping pong balls and basketballs and have fun in their basement. So for somebody like that, you may have want to level this floor before you go ahead and do it, but leveling the floor equates to time. When it equates to time, you got to equate for cure time. When you equate for cure time, your project has now been extended by at least a week to 2 weeks to get to that level. In this particular scenario, as I said, it's all about the customer. The customer over here cares more about time. They want to go ahead and get things done and finish it up, but it doesn't come without a cost. So as you can see here, there is a thick layer of mortar going on under the concrete floor. When there's a lot of concrete, there's a lot of mortar that you're using, it's a lot of material. Material equates to cost. Cost equates to how many bags you need to go ahead and buy. How many bags you buy, how many bags you ship. How many bags you ship, how many bags you bring down. So you could see that for the cost of expediting time, they're increasing their cost of material and time to go ahead and bring things down, which then increases labor, or you do it yourself. Now the question is, do you have the time to unload the bags, bring them down the steps, and get it prepped for the tile setter to go ahead and start setting the tile, using the mortar to go ahead and equate for leveling, and then go ahead and continue with the project, still trying to keep true to the timeline? There's a lot with just that one decision to use a lot of mortar. A lot that goes behind it. Another positive, negative, I guess it really all depends on what your scenario is again, when I was talking about if this is going to be a basement that's going to be used for running and jumping and ping pong balls and whatnot, when something heavy hits a void, let me show you what a void looks like. That is a void. And when something heavy comes and hits this piece on that void, that's when you have a cracked tile. So if in your home you intend on having these events or playing around and throwing any kind of balls down here or whatnot, then maybe for you it might behoove you to go ahead and make sure that it gets leveled first using self-leveling compounds, and then go ahead and install the tile, as opposed to using some tricks of the trade to go ahead and expedite process. Because again, when it comes to tile installers and setters or whatnot, what are you looking for? Are you looking for budget friendly? Are you looking for creative? Or are you looking for it needs to be done properly? And again, the answer is what's most important to you? What's your objective? Timeline, money, time for yourself. There's just so many different factors that go involved. So before I get off the subject of mortars and allow the tile setters over here, they've been very kind to just kind of sit to the side as I make this video because they're about to be done. So I gotta go back, go to an estimate, and then come back over here and complete the other videos. But in the meantime, what I want to show you is I want to show you color of mortar. When it comes to mortar colors, you can go with gray, you can go with white. As you can see here, the color that was selected was gray. And the reason why gray was selected is because when it comes to this particular tile, it is a porcelain tile that will not show the color of the mortar going through out the top. So if, let's say that you have a white marble floor, or you were to have a very light beige limestone, travertine, or any kind of a tile that is definitely, number one, absorbent, which this is not, but number one, absorbent, then you wouldn't want the gray to bleed through. In the same token, even though we are dealing with porcelain tiles and the gray won't bleed through the tile, what if this porcelain tile of yours was white? And let's say that you wanted to go ahead and use white grout. Now the question is, how important is it that the white grout is as white as you expect it to be? If that's important to you, then you must use white Thinset here. White Thinset costs more. So now we go back into budget. Do you want to go with a more budget-friendly mortar, or do you want to go with the one that's going to ensure that the final aesthetic outcome is the way that you intended it to be, or your designer intended the final vision to be? That's where you got to decide. But let's just say that, in this particular scenario, he's probably going to go with a dark color grout. And in this scenario, with a dark color grout, hides dirt, not going to have to worry about bleeding through. He doesn't intend on using this area for ping pongs or basketballs or none of that. They're just going to be walking, chilling on a couch and relaxing. So in this particular scenario, it worked out, where the only thing that was an added cost and time was all of the additional bags of mortar. That's the only thing. But on the positive side, he was able to keep on track, keep up with the tile installation, going ahead with the grout, and then after he's done with this tile install, as you can see, the installers that we have here is doing a great job keeping clean as they're moving along. Once they're done, we'll be back in here to prep the floor, clean it up before the grout goes in. Then after the grout goes in, we're gonna go ahead and clean that up. But before that happens, I'll go ahead and I'll come back and I'll make a couple more videos on the things that I can point out now. We're gonna touch on lippage. We're gonna touch on what tremendous lippage is. We're gonna talk about what lippage is if you don't already know. So I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.